All right, everybody, here we are. What episode is this, Mel?
30.
That's
Woohoo!
right. Okay, episode 30. We made to 30. I think there's like some sort of special number all the people write about. It's like if you get your podcast to X number, you're gonna last or you're in the top whatever. So I think it was like 17. So we're about to lap
Ooh.
that. So welcome everybody, Customer Success Show. Today's gonna be episode 30, CS Besties, talking about CS. We actually have a fun game that we're gonna play today. The last time we did this, though, we had our other bestie AJ, who we'll get to in a second, but he's in places far, far away and couldn't make this call today. But let's take care of the Success Panda housekeeping. So one thing that I wanted to do is, every time we have the show, I wanted to bring on somebody who is either in Panda Pals or is involved in Success Panda some way, and wanted them to give a short their thoughts on what their experience has been. So we do have somebody today. I'm going to bring on John. So John Munger is joining us, and John was gracious enough to say like, yeah, I'll come on and share hopefully some nice things. Which we were joking about pre-show that if he said you're the worst person ever, may God have mercy on your soul. I will not cut that from the show because that'd be great TV, but go ahead, John. Tell us what's been your experience. So,
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like you said, that Brad's one of the worst career coaches ever hired, but it's not April Fool's anymore, so I'm going to nix that part of that. But no, I'm a member of Panda Pals, and it's really a fantastic community that Brad's brought together because it's a community of other success professionals that want to support each other. And I've seen people that join and they work through their interview process and do mock interviews. They learn about Brad's strategies for how to improve your chances to succeed in interviews and really landing that offer. I've seen quite a number of people successfully land offers, especially recently. So, and the main thing here is that Brad also, he really cares about all of us as individuals. So if you're looking for a career coach who actually cares about you and your success, Brad's a fantastic person to have by your side to help coach you all throughout that process. And so I've had fantastic experience, and Brad keeps it affordable for everyone, which is not something I see many career coaches do either. So definitely check out Panda Pals if you're looking for your next customer success position.
thanks, John. Checks in the mail if I had any money left. But
Appreciate that.
no, but thanks for coming on, John, and I appreciate that. And just like what John said, we try to keep it affordable. It's $20. We have a call every week on Wednesday. I do this because I love doing it. I've found how I truly can help people, and I'll have Mel drop we have a donation link that will drop in the chat. So we have certain people who might need from time to time, hey, I might need to be sponsored so that I can join. They may not have the $20 this month or maybe next month or whatever. So just know if you want to sponsor a job seeker, feel free to just make a donation, and that will go to people getting into Panda Pals. So anyways, John, thanks for coming on. And yeah, I'll talk to you on Wednesday, if not sooner.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. See you, John. All right, cool. So let's introduce here. So I mean, Dana, you're back, friend of the pod, back on. But do you want to give a quick intro of yourself?
Yeah, so I am Dana Vaughn, and I am customer success at Order, bringing visibility and orchestration to networks. And I also founded a podcast and platform called Rebels of SaaS. And I know and love both of these people that I'm on the phone with, including Brad and Mel, because they're the only people left here. So hello.
Hi, Dana. We're so happy to have you here. You bring such good energy to us. It's fun. I'm Melanie. I'm the community director here at Success Panda, and I'm also the new head of onboarding at Route Fusion, a fintech organization that specializes in cross-border payments. Woohoo!
Sweet. That's awesome. All right. So today, like I was saying pre-show, I got a game, right? But before that, the fourth person, the fourth bestie, it's on me. I thought he was going to be back from the place he was at. So hold on, let me go ahead and share my screen here. here, this is where he's at, actually. He is in the South Pole. He decided to make a career change, and he's now a researcher. Happily in the South Pole, sadly underdressed, but still wearing his sunglasses. But so AJ, Jaden's not here with us. He's usually on one of the Bestie shows that's with us, but it's okay. Where he really is this is where he's really at. He's really in Italy and finishing up a fun trip there. And he did promise me in writing that he would take me. So I just went ahead and photoshopped myself into his picture. So AJ, I need you to fulfill that. So it will be fun. Let's go again in 2 months. So today we're going to play.
I'm just saying that sounds like more like a besties trip.
Yeah.
So,
Let's do
hold
that,
on.
Let's
Hold
do
on.
that, Brad.
Mel's head coming in over here and Dana's head coming in over on this side. Hold up. There we go. Little Italy action. AJ, don't disappoint. I know.
Besties take on Italy.
I know. It's funny. All right. So I got this game rolled. Okay. So it's called the Race to Renewal game. All right. So I kind of feel like Madden drawn on the whiteboard sometimes, like football. It's like, here's the X and O's, and here's the start line, and here's Dana, and there's Mel, and there's me in the Panda head. So basically, this is the bamboo, by the way, if you want to see what that is. Like, we're live in Canva. This is high production value right here, right?
I'm impressed.
So we have the finish. So here's going to be the game. So I have these slides afterwards, and we have 5 questions, and depending on the question, people will either move ahead of space. There's some questions you can move back a space, but they all have to do with customer success and topics that I kind of want to touch on. So I just figured, let's just gamify this puppy. Let's just have a little fun. I did rig it to make sure that I win and Mel loses and becomes in third. But yeah, let's go ahead and start. You ladies ready? All right.
My engines are ready.
All right. So let's do the first question. So some of these are just going to be like, they're supposed to be fun, but so I was reading an article and it said the top 300 from Forbes, and it says the top 300 best customer service for 2025, and it came out last October. So here's the thing is, name at least one company who you think would make the list. Now, the way that we're going to score this, right? So what we're trying to do is we're going to come up with a company. We're all going to say one. And depending on where the list is, right? So there's a list of a 300. And if you give a company that is basically whoever gets the highest. So if I say the number 1, I get to move ahead 1 space. And then whoever gets second gets nothing, and whoever gets third gets to buy me lunch. Okay, so we will talk more about like the actual customer service spot, but think of a company, because you only get 1 crack, and you're going to say your company. We'll start with Mel, then Dana, then myself. And if your company's on the list, we'll see how it ranks up. So Mel, what company do you have in mind?
Chick-fil-A.
Oh snap, Mel. Okay, that's good, Mel. Why did I let you go first? I'm supposed to rig the game so you lose.
Sorry.
Okay, clearly I'm not good at rigging this. Go ahead, Dana.
Lego.
Okay, mine would be Costco, because
That's a good one.
I spend
Okay.
All right. So let's scroll down. All right, wait. I forgot. This is the one. So this is the actual article. So the very first one was the UPS store. And then Chick-fil-A number 3.
Chick-fil-A number 3. Mel, look at you, Mel. Oh, Trader Joe's. Why didn't I think about Trader Joe's?
Lego, unfortunately, Control F says you didn't make the list.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Costco, right there, number 61 out of 300. All right. As much as it grieves me to do this, let's do the score. Mel moves up 1. Let's layer her and bring her. No, I want to bring her forward. Oh, well.
The 2 case studies that I would always show my team were always included Zappos. Is Zappos still around? Remember Zappos?
I do.
They had the best.
There it is, number 45.
45. There you go.
They're not very, I don't want to say relevant, but you haven't really heard Zappos in a long time.
Yeah.
But Zappos and Chick-fil-A are 2 great case studies of customer service.
Yeah. Well, that's why. So when I was making this, Mel, I did see the number 1, but I decided I wasn't going to cheat. So I was like, okay, what would I naturally say? And I would have just said Costco because that's where I spend all my money.
I would agree about UPS store. I love our UPS stores. They're very nice and always accommodating.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the follow-up conversations, like looking at these kind of top 10, the UPS store, and then all the way to number 10, Buc-ee's. That's funny. Which one of these kind of stick out, and why do you think that they have exceptional service? So I think Mel kind of answered that, but Dana, what do you think?
My favorite place on earth is Trader Joe's. It's just happy. It's happy. There's nothing bad that happens at Trader Joe's.
Are they owned by Aldi, or is Aldi owned by Trader Joe's?
Aldi owns Trader Joe's. This is the parent company.
And yes.
Yeah. So Mel, which you went with the UPS store? You're saying?
Yes, I think all of the ones that are on that top 10, with the exception of number 2, I would say, yeah, Buc-ee's tremendous customer service. I lived in Florida for 8 years, and Publix was always a great store to. Always clean, always friendly. Yeah, I would agree with the exception of number 2, but I don't have any experience with them as being a client, so I can't say yay or nay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the UPS store, I'll talk about that one. I think the biggest thing for me with this made total sense when I saw the UPS store is number 1 is because there's always a person there. Like, it's always staffed to where even though they are taking in all of these Amazon returns, because the one that I go to, it's always like there's a special line for just Amazon returns. It's always moving. I've gone to in fact, I have the option to like take to Staples, take to the UPS store, take to this spot, and I always choose the UPS store because, you know, they're always there. They're willing. It's well staffed. There's a person.
I would agree with that. I even during Christmas, my store always keeps it moving.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, it was just interesting because when I was reading this article, I thought, ooh, this will be a good test. We'll see who gets it. And unfortunately, Mel did. Because I don't want to lose to Mel, but it looks like I'm going to lose. All right. So score, Mel won. Dana and I, goose egg. All right. Time for round 2. All right. So this guy wrote in Forbes. His name's Alexander Putillo, I think. He wrote an article about why customers aren't always treated like royalty. All right, so this one's gonna be a little different. So there will be a list, and give one reason. Give one reason each of why you think people are not treated well on the list. Hold on. All right, so this is the scoring. So if Mel and Dana each move 1 space if they guess correctly. Okay, so if you end up guessing a single reason on the list, you go up a space. But if you both don't guess anything on the list, then I move up a space. Right. Because I know the answers. So, all right. So specifically, this article is about how we'll say support teams. So let's transition into support. Support teams have been kind of what I call MVS, minimal viable service, right? Which we'll talk to more about after we answer this question. But this he's actually a Harvard professor and also a lecturer at other places. He gives 3 reasons why support teams and organizations have been have not been great. So there's 3 reasons, and all you have to do is guess one of them, and then you'll be able to move up a point.
I have a clarifying question.
No.
Okay.
No. You just got to guess your reason, Mel.
It's funny. The more you ask, the more like pink Brad's getting, which is why I'm loving this.
I made this whole presentation in 2 hours, Mel. There's no qualifying questions. It just is what it is.
Okay. Who's answering first?
All right. You're the board leader, so you go first. Give us one reason why you think support teams haven't been prioritized.
They're a cost center.
Okay. Dana?
Because treating customers like their royalty, reality is that doesn't scale.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's
Answer.
getting real, y'all.
So underfunded, they're underfunded, they have high agent turnover, and they have bad technology.
Well, I totally would agree. Yeah, with all of that for sure. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So I pulled out a quote that I liked, and I put his little picture in there because why not? That was what was on the article. As he said, but all share one conviction: the days of just enough are over. So what he was referring to is all of the executives who have kind of poo-pooed their support or their customer service in the past, right? And now they're looking at it as an integral part of their customer journey, right? And so when he's talking to all these people, he's saying like, hey, most were just underfunded. They want to they get exported out to foreign countries where people perhaps have to wait in long lines, or they don't understand what people are saying. There's high agent turnover because they're not well paid. And then the technology is like the phone tree. I thought about, and I'll probably do this next week, where what's it called with the super complex phone?
It's an automatic call distribution, so they call it.
Yeah, the distribution. I just call it the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like thinking, I don't think you can be a customer first company on LinkedIn and then also have like an automated phone tree.
I disagree.
Tell me, Mel. Tell me.
Well, I've run support departments in the past, and you do have an ACD to route the calls to that are appropriately. Now, what you're probably talking about is an auto attendant where you have to press the button and you go down through and have the automated voice that are asking questions, and you can never get to a live person. But
yes,
if you have it, yeah, that's bad. Specifically if there's no way out of it, if you can't get to a person, if you can't get to a press 0 and go to a person, yes, I would agree. But if you have a good ACD and you're answering live calls, the distribution actually cuts down on the amount of time it takes to solve your problem because it's being distributed correctly.
And I'm not, you're probably gonna get a little pinker, Brad, because I have to kind of jump on the mail train with this because let me be clear, like the reason is because looking at all this, I agree with the article, but AI infusion, smart segmentation, building community to bring in, I think we can all think of like 10 different ways where we could, even in these different types of scenarios, build something that's scalable that still makes customers feel really, really special.
I'm very excited about like Salesforce Agent Force and how AI will help with that distribution. From my understanding, from what Mark Benioff is saying, is that
Mel, you
What?
literally just said Salesforce
And
Agent
it's
Force,
data.
and what did it change to? And now it literally just changed to that.
that's so freaky.
That's pretty.
But I am excited about AI and what it can do for, agent type calls.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That is really weird.
Well, I was scrolling down here. I was scrolling. Look, there it is. Salesforce owns the internet. It's official. But I was just, because Dana brought up AI, and I was like, basically the whole article goes into like the selling of like, hey, AI is coming and all that stuff. So yes, Mel, I mean, I like the different channels. I think it's fine to have a phone channel. But what I guess what I meant to say is the never ending, you can never get to a person.
Mhm.
And it's just literally cycles you through until you give up. Right. That
Until you
was a
Rage hang up.
Yeah. That's been a support strategy for people, which is like, we don't want to do support. We just want you to get frustrated and hang up. So anyways, that look, it keeps refreshing. It's like,
It's refreshing to it.
I mean, I'll have to DM Marianne to be like, hey, your
Yeah.
marketing team is just like really good, because on Forbes.com they have like the microphone on and they knew exactly when we were bringing up your stuff, guys. Cool. All right. Unfortunately for you, I don't think that any of your answers were actually on the list. So let's see. I'm at 1. See, look at me trying. No one tried to call me out.
I saw that, Panda.
I know. Mel's at 1 too. All right.
Come on, Dana.
I know.
All right.
About to get up. He's on.
Round 3. So I have a quote here that they wanted to stay anonymous, but it says, everyone knows and everyone agrees Success Panda is the best. People say it's the best, and I tend to agree. So this is a Success Panda question. What is the next big feature to drop on Success Panda? All right. So both Dana and Mel need to get the correct answer to move up 1 spot each. Brad moves up 1 spot for each wrong answer. Oh, look, we got these comments flying in here. We got the renewals comments. UPS store number 1. They're acquired by Amazon. Okay. All right.
Zappos was acquired by Amazon. Is this a fair question for me? Shouldn't I know this?
Well, that's why I was going to say, to make it fair, because Dana's face was like panic.
Well,
You know?
I'm a little, I'm like, I should know, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
So the strat might be, if Dana doesn't have a lot of confidence, just say whatever Mel says, right? But if Mel's wrong, and then you say that, then I'm moving up 2 spaces.
I'm going to say the Panda Pals integration.
I'm going to also say the Panda Pals integration.
Did I do the round 3 answer? The digital marketplace. The Panda Pals integration was deployed last week, Mel. So the marketplace is coming up. So, okay. So the only reason I want to bring this up is because the marketplace is going to launch next week. And so, say, for example, you're Dana and you have an awesome onboarding document that you want to give away or you want to sell, right? Say you have some cool stuff you want to sell, whether it's QBR decks or onboarding decks or whatever. You can go on Success Panda and sell those puppies, right? Or if you're like, hey, here's a checklist, or here are the top 25 CSM questions in an interview or whatever. If you want to make artifacts and give them away, you can. You want to sell things, you can. And then you can also sell services too.
What about actual puppies?
Huh?
What about actual puppies?
No puppies allowed.
What about customer success puppies?
It says digital. So I think the puppy would need to be like an NFT or something. So
okay.
Yeah, you can sell your NFT puppy. So anyways, I just wanted to make that shout out where it's like Success Panda has our group now for Panda Pals that's been integrated on, which has been great. We got our own little LinkedIn kind of live feed clone there. We have our accountability buddies and our schedule coming up. And then the digital marketplace. I see people all the time posting on LinkedIn, just being like, hey, anyone have a template for like a QBR deck for this type of vertical, right? So you'll be able to give it away or sell it. And it'll be a lot of cool things there.
The marketplace looks really cool.
Indeed. All right. So Mel was at 1 and I was at 1, which now means I'm at 3. And that's not, I honestly didn't think I was going to win. I tried to rig this so that, that you guys can win, but it's not looking good. All right. Let's go on to round 4. All right.
Fight.
I was waiting for, I was like, someone's going to say it, fight. Okay, so I put in this chat GPT prompt. Okay. Now, Dana, this is where you can make up some room. You can make up some room here. Okay. I put in what are the 4 largest customer success platforms, right? So it gave me 4. Now it doesn't have to be in order. There's no 1 through 4, but here's how it's scored. If you get 1 out of 4, so you're going to list all, you're going to say 4 companies. If you get 1 out of 4, you lose 2 spaces. If you only get 2 out of 4, you lose 1 space. You get 3 out of 4, you get no gain, but only 4 out of 4, you move up 1 space. And then Brad moves up 1 space for each wrong answer. We probably, you know what? Let's strike that out because I'm already stomping. Hold on.
That's so not right.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, we won't do that. Brad's not moving up because he's already up 3-1.
Who's going first?
We'll let Dana go first this time.
okay. Largest CSPs. Gainsight.
Okay.
Plan Hat.
Okay.
Churn Zero. Totango.
Mel.
Gainsight, Tatango, Churn Zero, Purple Carrot. Is that what it's called? Is it Purple Carrot? It's a carrot. It has carrot in it.
Maybe just carrot.
Now I want carrots, Mel.
There it is. The Salesforce snuck in.
Interesting.
That is incredibly interesting and also not surprising. A little bit surprising, but that's cool.
Yeah.
So here is something that is interesting that I want to talk about which is funny because I think Gainsight was spun off of Salesforce back in the day. But what's been your experience? Have either of you used Salesforce as like a CRM for like a CS motion? Were you running the CS motion out of Salesforce?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The very first one the very first time I ever built it was in there, and it was a nightmare back then.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you start off any type of maturity level of a CS department starts off with using Salesforce as the CRM. As you grow and mature then and have money, then that's when you look for a Gainsight or, as something that's actually specific. But you can still build workflows in Salesforce. You can still have triggers and do email flows. Anything that you can do in the other ones that are specialized to customer success, you can still do in Salesforce.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Salesforce is very robust in what it can build out. The challenge with me in using Salesforce in the past was if I just wanted to say have a very simple customer journey, like because there's so many tools, because it's so customizable, sometimes I use the analogy, I felt like I was trying to like if I was trying to move my table across town, instead of putting it in the back of my truck, you buy a semi truck. You know, like it just felt like overkill. And then the UI, at least the last time I was, it's like it wouldn't be ranked number one, I think, out of the different ones that I've used in the past.
Well, here's the actual problem with a Salesforce versus a Gainsight or any other platform is that usually the one group that is purchasing the platform in the organization is sales. So all the development is driven by sales. And so the reason why most customer success people are pulling in another platform is that they can have control and drive the development of that. Where Gainsight, Salesforce, Tutango, TurnZero, all of these platforms and any platform that you think about out there, it's only as good as the administration and management of the platform. Therefore, if you have all the resources that are tied and paid for by sales, customer success may not have the prioritization, or the cycle for development is extremely long because it's not prioritized. So you're really not getting the benefits of Salesforce because you just don't have someone that is prioritizing your development and making sure that you work together with sales versus customer success. And even I've worked in organizations that use Salesforce as a support tracking system.
Yes.
I recommend that.
And the community, and as well as Salesforce community, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because I forget what show it was on, but we were talking about CSPs, so customer success platforms. And it was to the group, or maybe it was a call, I can't remember. But the bottom line was, I've spoken to, I think, almost all of these companies, right, that are kind of in this space. And a lot of them, they think that their like exposure is greater than perhaps what it is. And I still meet people who, have not heard of a Gainsight or a Tutango or a TurnZero, right? Salesforce is pretty ubiquitous. I think everybody's heard of that. But I was talking to a head of marketing at one of the CSPs, and I was like, yeah, we kind of did like an informal poll in my group, and like your brand like didn't come at all, and they were just like, oh, I mean, that's good to know, right? And so one of the things that I put on Success Panda is like this companies feature where people can just go on there and then just list the company, right? Because one of the things that I struggled with when I was in a director role was when you're asked by your leader, hey, go find this type of software, go find an onboarding software. Okay, well, there's two that come to my mind, but I know that there's way more than two on the market. But the thing is what you see is all there is, and we don't know about it. So the idea is that on Success Panda, under companies, like if you're selling into the CS space, like go list your company on there where people can like engage with you and then find out what it is that you do. Because if there was something like that where it's just like, okay, well, here's all the different lists of onboarding and things like that. Now you can Google it, but it's not going to come up with not every company is going to come up because it's just going to bring up the big players. So like I've talked to people I know a guy who has a startup and he's from India, and he basically is creating a CSP platform. And it's just like being on Success Panda would be incredibly helpful if you're able to see a lot of the options, right? So this all was just to say, like, one of the big points of kind of Success Panda is to aggregate all of the things that we need to be successful into one spot, right? And that includes just knowing where stuff is, which I think there needs to be a lot more work done on that, where it's easy to find them, and then also just to connect and chat with them on the platform. All right, so you both got 3 out of 4. So what, Mel, how many points were you at before?
1.
Okay. Oh, Dan,
Oh.
Okay, so you got 3 out of 4. So no one read the rules, so you moved up 1, and then Mel moved up 1 too. So there we go. All right, so going into round 5 here. Right now we got I'm leading the way 3 points, Mel 2, Dana 1. So, but here's the good thing. Oh, we need to change this all on the fly here. So we'll say highest guess gets 5 spaces, and second place gets 2, and then last place gets none. All right. So we had to rig the game. All right. So similar to a similar question that we had before. So Technology Magazine had a top 10 ranking of customer experience companies. Now this one I'm going to play because I haven't looked. Okay, I haven't looked. So it's in the top 10. So I'm pretty sure this list, which is, by the way, right here on this tab, it's got 10, and I'm pretty sure they're software companies, but maybe they could be anyone. But basically, we're going to go into the article, but they're companies who they focus on customer experience, right? Not so much customer service, but the customer experience. So again, kind of same logic, 1 through 10, whoever gets the closest to 1 gets the first position. Second gets 2 spaces. Third gets no space. Do we have any volunteers on who will go first?
I will.
Oh, go ahead, Mel. You said it first. You go for it, Mel.
ServiceNow.
Okay.
Cisco.
Monday.com. All right. Let's look. Number 10, Qualtrics. Okay, I get that. Number 9, Zendesk. All right.
Interesting.
Nice, CX. Or is it nice?
I think it's nice.
I think it's nice. Genesis.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay. HubSpot. Oh, how did no one get that? Okay. All right. So far, no one's on the board. Microsoft. Okay, well, we all make mistakes. SAP. Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, it's getting to the wire.
Oracle. Adobe. Salesforce. No.
Oh.
None of us. None of the ones that we chose.
Oh my
Interesting.
goodness.
I almost said Salesforce.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you just get Salesforce for anything, I mean, how long? Hold on. Let's see if this ad.
It's going to change. Yep.
Yeah, say it, Mel. Say Salesforce.
Salesforce, Agentforce, and Mark Benioff.
Come on, don't disappoint us, banner ads. Okay. Okay, cool. So, what do we think about this list?
I'm wondering what criteria they used. I could see Adobe. Adobe's a good customer experience all the way around. No. I think so.
Have you? Yeah, the user experience is great. Have you tried canceling an Adobe subscription?
No, I have not.
It's like harder than getting on the dark web.
Yeah.
It's like it's all hidden. You got to try to find it, and then it's just.
But
It was
what?
funny because on the All In podcast, they made a joke about how hard it is to cancel an Adobe
That's
subscription.
funny.
And it wasn't until that moment I was like, oh yeah, that's true.
I
Yeah,
don't know how
otherwise
what.
it's great.
So Oracle has so many different products. Like I am not understanding how Oracle is on that list.
Well, it says Oracle has extended CX management across the enterprise, and they offer Oracle's CX platform connects front office customer activities with back office operations,
I
enabling.
wonder who they pulled. That's interesting.
That one's interesting, especially with the recent cybersecurity implications and stuff they've had rolling around. So that one's
Yeah.
interesting.
My first, like I'm sure technologymagazine.com has to sell stuff, and all these companies have deep pockets. So I'm not saying that there might be some sort of commercial reason, but maybe there is, because to me, it's like these are all like the biggest SaaS players in the space, and they're all conveniently kind of listed in the order of how much they probably pay. But no, but I'm just surprised because there are other companies that I think would get honorable mentions.
For sure.
that
All the ones we said.
Mhm.
Maybe we should come up with our own list.
That's right. Which is why we will one day have a blog section on Success Panda where we have all of the guest writers just come in and just kill it and give us their top 10. How about them apples?
Interesting.
Mhm.
I know.
I'm
So
surprised Zendesk was above ServiceNow.
yeah, do you have an A/B test on that, Mel?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think to me that it was interesting because like Genesis, for example, I've worked with them in the past, and they, like any big company, so they do the call center software, right? And I think it's really hard, especially if you have a business like that, you're doing call center software, right? It's got to be, that's going back to that earlier part of our conversation where you have so many more channels, because not every, we'll say, company is, in the call center where like the phone and the voice is so important. But that seems like it would just be a hard business to.
But you know who is number one in call center infrastructure and software? The one that Danny mentioned, Cisco. Cisco's UCCE products are number one.
Yeah.
So that's surprising as well. I mean, it is the complexity of their infrastructure, and maybe because Genesis is more cloud versus on-prem.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know any I've never used any products from NICE. I don't think.
I don't think I have either. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, it's like I didn't even know about them. So that's why it's like out of all of these, they're all enormous companies.
I mean, unpopular opinion, I do like HubSpot, the functionality, and from I like its CRM lens over Salesforce just a little bit. Don't come at me because I also love Salesforce, okay? But
no, I'm not coming. I'm not coming. I'm right there with you. I'm team HubSpot for sure.
Yes.
Over Salesforce any day. Yeah, it's just I think the big thing is just like the user experience. The thing is every time I use Salesforce, it's always changing, right? And it's just
so
like
customizable.
Yeah, I know, and like that's good and bad, but I think it just depends on your complexity of your your organization.
Very much.
I love their enablement though, the way that they got in on that whole go get the cert and create that universe of stuff that customers can go get, that kind of thing. I think that I've always really admired that. I will say that.
Does Salesforce have an out-of-box solution, or is it all customizable? They used to have an out-of-box solution. I don't know if they do anymore.
I think they still do. Yeah.
They still do. Yeah.
Yeah. Qualtrics is a good company. I've heard good things about them. I used them a long time ago, but haven't in a while. Cool. All right. So we all got basically nothing. So I guess technically nobody actually made it to the end line, which is kind of shocking because I'm like, oh yeah, someone will get it. But I guess that means we'll just move me to the bamboo since I got the highest, and I control the mouse right now.
Well, Dana can come back anytime as long as so she can be in last place.
It's true. Alas, because I am a fan of the Panda and also a fellow Panda as well. I'm a member of, and very proud member of the Panda universe. So
Yeah.
I will be back because I love you guys. So I got bamboo anyway, Brad, even though you have the mouse.
There you go. Well, I'm interested because we have a little bit. We have like a couple minutes left. What's something, because you're both somewhat in, we'll just say newish roles. It's not like, years or years, but newish roles. What's something that you're working on right now in customer success that you're excited about?
Yeah, so I'm really loving right now just the amazing talent and unique ability that the customer success team at Order has, and being able just to get in the trenches with them, kind of learn their workflow and how to optimize it with some cool AI infusion. And we've been working on some training this week, which is pretty cool, just talking about how to execute on a business review, what customers care about from a value outcome standpoint. So I know it sounds like a silly plug, but it isn't, because some really cool people out at Order. So it's been fun to get to know them and learn my team.
Cool. What about you, Mel?
Kind of what Dana says. I love working with people that I've worked with. They've been so welcoming. Of course, I'm concentrating on onboarding. I'm working on ways of forecasting revenue throughout onboarding and carrying that value from sales to through onboarding and creating a launch into customer success, and the value that we have for what sales is looking at, what onboarding is looking at, and then how customer success can kind of grow those customers to be successful based on the numbers that sales is providing. So keeping that holistic view from sales, onboarding, and customer success. Of course, I have customer success in my heart. So I try to make sure that onboarding launches those customers into success so that everyone can be successful.
Nice. I think something that I've been seeing a lot of, and just more posts on, right now, besides like the AI, which is the big thing that people keep talking about. Well, actually, let me talk about that real quick. So I guess I'll make that point, which is with AI, I think that a lot of companies have looked at the world, we'll say 2 months ago, as like, this is a static view of how the world has been. But to bring in some recent topics of like how tariffs and things like that, like just managing risk, for example. So for example, if you say, hey, we're going to invest in this AI, which is, comes from this country. It's like, well, what does that mean now if we have like tariffs and then we have like a certain percentage on it, right? And I think the big thing is like, there's so much money that's been poured into AI. Like so many people are riding on it to make sure that it's like successful, that I feel like, not that I'm a doomer, but I'm just like, when does any kind of the 1.0 technology rollout kind of go to plan? Does that make sense? Where it's just kind of like, it's good to have AI. I'm like not against it per se. I think it will have its spot. But then going back to that UPS example, right, that we talked about, like, why was the UPS like great on customer service? Well, because they did the basics really well. They moved through the line quickly, right? They had a human, even though, do we know of a supplier or a company that tries to completely automate that? Yes. Yeah, they exist. And it's just not as good of an experience, right? Which is why they have those high scores and people keep going back to the UPS store. So I think the big thing is, what I've been seeing is, if there is this huge run into AI, then perhaps there might be an overcorrection to where people maybe get rid of some headcount, and then they're like, oh, maybe we're not as slick and completely ready to be fully AI as we thought, and their systems aren't as robust. Because I think that's the big thing, is like, when you're looking at whether it's supply chain or different systems, like, how robust is this, right? And I'm seeing a lot more discussion on LinkedIn, where to me that's an interest that I have, is like just trying to watch some of the AI and people, some of the leaders who are, talking about it, and seeing like who's actually launching this on the enterprise at scale, right? Where they're doing without the people, like they're actually reducing headcount. So that's something that I'm interested in, is like just trying to check that counter narrative of the whole AI hype. Like that.
Well, I love that because I've seen companies make that mistake and then rotate back because they're like, but I think if we think even something silly like a movie theaters in concept could have went away years ago, maybe like Blockbuster, which I love and miss dearly, right? But movie theaters are still around, and they're around because, like in my little hometown, there's this person who smiles that will take the ticket from you, and you can go get a nice warm popcorn, and they smile at my 4-year-old who's a tyrant and also adorable. And then we go watch the nice movie, and I'm okay to spend $40 there because of that experience, to your point.
Yeah, it's an experience. The movie has been commoditized, and it's about the experience, right? And so thinking about in a world where
the same thing. Chick-fil-A does the same thing, and from an experience standpoint, they have people coming to your table and asking you how you are, and they make you feel like that you're ordering a $5 meal, but they make you feel like that you're in a fancy little restaurant or a little cafe, and half the time they know who you are, and it's all about the experience. And I think from an AI perspective, yeah, they probably can go ahead and kind of have that rationality. You can see that with ChatGPT today, but they're never going to be the one that has that warm smile or says hi. But I think that you want to listen to, like, do it smartly. Like, what are the things that no one likes to do that doesn't have an impact on the customer? Then AI can do that for you. But if it has direct access to the customer, I think that always that human voice, that human touch will always.
But Mel, but when they're making those decisions, how many of these companies are actually asking their customers? They're saying, hey, here's our customer journey, y'all. And why don't you pick the 3 spots based off this graphic where you want AI to intervene instead of a human?
Let's do it smartly. That's what let's think about it before we just think about the bottom line, or, hey, we have this really cool thing, but think about it.
Well, and this is why, for example, Google, who is at the top of search, couldn't disrupt themselves, not to go all Harvard, but it's like, the innovator's dilemma, where they talk about, jobs theory and about how people who are at the top of the stack within their industry, they don't get disrupted by themselves. They always get disrupted by smaller players. And that's what happened with OpenAI, is because all the incentives, because Google search is focused on clicks and amount of time on the website. And it's like, this is the golden goose, and we don't want to rock that boat. And they probably should have been, but that's kind of how I think, is like, who's kind of at the top where they're trying to rush to do the AI play, but then, they're going to be disrupted by potentially customers or companies that are thinking more of from a CX perspective of like, well, what do our customers actually want? Right. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? That was just a bunch of jumbled mess. But
well, I think I've seen, and I've chatted up in a lot of boardrooms, all the great things that AI can do. And here's the why, but not nearly as often have I told that success story as I've said, hey, by the way, this human saved this really big account.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, that is the real justification in my mind of that human AI play. And the way that I think about AI is just like you said, and I loved how you articulated it. It speaks to your leadership and how you think about stuff in general. But like taking a customer and asking the question real, hey, talk to me. Where does this make sense? And then to your point, Mel, infusing AI to amplify that human experience, and then hiring the right people, giving them the right support that they need and the tools, and then watch it all sing.
Nice.
That's what exactly.
Cool.
Be smart. Use tools.
Yeah.
In that order.
I'm going to use a fork and an iPad.
Yeah. No, yeah, there is a difference. I think being customer first actually means involving your customers. So we'll end on that note, ladies. It's been my Canva game. It was fun. It was fun. I got to the bamboo.
It was
You
a
ladies
blast.
didn't,
It was
but,
fun.
but it's okay. Maybe some other time when we have a besties show, again, someone else will win. Actually, I didn't win last time, did I, Mel?
No, AJ did.
Oh, AJ did. All right. He's in Italy having fun. Cool. Well, Dana, why don't you tell people where they can connect with you? Anything you want to pitch or sell or do or say? We can sign off.
No. Just find me on LinkedIn. And thanks for having me on, Brad. I appreciate it. Always fun and nice to chat, Mel.
It's always fun to chat with you, Dana.
Panda party.
I'm saying.
There you go. All right, cool. Well, we will see you next week on the Customer Success Show. And everybody, have a great weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.